My name is Riley, and I'm here to talk about Canada's involvement in the Cold War. So, the Cold War continued to define international relationships throughout the 1980s. With the Cold War defining the 80s, the United States government announced a massive increase in their defense budget, trying to work towards modernizing their own nuclear arsenal. With that, the U.S. government also supported many right-wing monuments and governments that disregarded human rights, so that was a great. Now on to the Soviet Union. I didn't know how to do this whole chapter or read it or spell it, so don't quote me on that. In September, I should read this first. In 1893, Soviet jets shot down a Korean passenger plane that flew into the Soviet airspace where they were. And then the U.S. kind of didn't like that. So then the U.S. invaded the Caribbean nation of Grenada? I don't know. And disposed of the pro-Soviet left-wing government. But they both accused each other of provoking hostilities. But I didn't read too far into where that went. But yeah. With the Soviet Union and the United States kind of going at it, Justin Trudeau appealed to both sides of each nation and wanted to show more resent. He visited both members to enlist the political leaders into his campaign of world peace, but it had little effect and both superpowers didn't really listen. After what Trudeau did had little effect, conservative leader Brian Mulroney, don't quote me on that again, became Canada's Prime Minister in September 1984. Him and Trudeau had very different opinions on how to run Canada. For example, Brian tried to become closer with the United States and gain a closer relationship with them, and the president was Ronald Reagan. Moving on to Star Wars. I don't know, it sounds cool. I thought it was dope when I read it first too, but it actually is pretty cool, so I'll tell you in a second. So in 1983, the government wanted to create this defense shield that would orbit the Earth, and they announced it to the people, and it got a pretty weird reaction. Its reaction from protesters was not that good. They thought that if Canada were to get involved in this, that it would provoke other countries to make the same types of weapons, and it just wouldn't end. Canada wasn't really with it. So eventually Canada declined the offer in the long run, I guess. This strategy defense was nicknamed, it's called short for STI. It was nicknamed Star Wars, but has an enormous budget. I would believe so because I don't think it ever actually happened, because I don't think there's something orbiting the Earth right now. Unless I am completely wrong, and I am very uneducated. Closer to the end of the Cold War, the Soviet Union's leader, Mikhail, don't call me on that, third time. Oh, whoa, Mikhail Zhukov, I don't know, I'm restarting. Anyways, that he realized the Soviet Union could no longer afford to pay for its costly war measures and all this. It's international arms race with the United States, if I might add. Both superpowers proposed massive cuts in their arsenal against each other, but then the Soviet Union leader wanted to help out his communist countries, and I'll get on that in a second. He wanted to help the communist countries more efficiently create better lives for its citizens. And then by 1991, the Soviet Union had collapsed and the Cold War was over. There was other countries that wanted to do the same thing that the Soviet Union did, and one of the communist countries was China. They experienced with this kind of persfolklia, I think I spelled it so wrong, I don't know. Which it allowed capitalism to flow in some areas of their economy. However, the Chinese citizens' hope for political freedom was kind of shot down, and they were brutally dashed in the Tasmanian Square in June 1989, and apparently it was brutal. Thousands of kids, Red Army soldiers and tanks attacked students involved in the democracy movement, killed hundreds and thousands, which is pretty shit on China's part. So that was my Cold War presentation. Hope everyone liked it. Make sure to like and subscribe down below.